Welcome to another episode of Civic Cipher. I'm your host, Ramses Ja, and we have a special show for you today. If you've been paying attention to our show, or paying attention to the media, our humble show has had some national and international light shone upon it. And obviously, there's a lot of stories in the media that you can check out. Feel free. And obviously, we need to talk about that on this show, exactly what it means, and our future as a show, because there's a lot more momentum in this space for us right now, and we're really excited about that. We're really excited about all the changes that we can help make in this country, the conversations that we can start and help people have in their homes, etc. But that is still something that we have to wait on. Those conversations that we would love to have with you. So in the meantime, there's a couple of things that we wanted to share with you, not the least of which is sort of a conversation that started this whole thing. Q and I were fortunate enough to go to LA and sit down with our mentor, Big Boy, a legendary broadcaster in the hip hop space, if you're not familiar. And he gave us a great interview out there. And so I'd love to share that with you today, just to kind of bring you up to speed if you haven't been paying attention to the media. And if you have been, to kind of give you a bit of an origin story of the show and some of the current things that are happening in this space. And also, we were fortunate enough to speak with one Isaac Hayes III, the owner of Fanbase. And so the second half of the show, we're going to shine some light on Black business, supporting Black business, kind of Black people's influence over the culture, the popular culture, and how social media affects our ability to communicate, our ability to make money, areas that require improvement, etc. So we'd love for you to stick around for both of those conversations. We feel like they're both very important. And of course, we are going to be back with more Civic Cipher very soon, but this is the space that we're in right now. And yeah, we hope you enjoy it. So I'll be back after we talk to Big Boy. So enjoy.
Big Boy's Neighborhood, beautiful day in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes, man, you come across some things, you come across some beautiful people. And for those that do know, then you know. And for those that don't, I would love to make this introduction as well. Now, first off, Ramses, I've met you years ago.
Yeah.
You didn't need anything from me. I didn't need anything from you. You were just a solid brother that I met years ago, man. And I love the way that, character is what's being said about you when you're not in the room. And people speak so well about your character. So now that I see you moving forward and I see you never stopped your hustle, never stopped your grind. You got 50,000 things that you're doing and 49.99 of them or 999, you're doing very well. I don't know what that one is. But welcome to the neighborhood, Ramses.
I appreciate it.
All right. And this is Q Ward.
Q Ward.
And together we are
Civic Cipher.
Yes, sir.
What is Civic Cipher?
Civic Cipher is a radio show and a podcast that was born out of the protests of 2020. Basically, what happened was, we're both DJs. We both work in radio, me and Q. Where we were at our old radio station in Phoenix, Arizona, we, in 2020, we're out protesting. We felt like the leadership on the streets really deserved more than just bullhorns.
Right.
And in order to challenge the narrative of what was being sort of chronicled on television stations and other media outlets, to let folks say their piece in terms of explaining what defund the police means or why people are upset about Breonna Taylor or, these sorts of things. We felt like, okay, well, we work in media. We work in hip hop media. This is, Black culture being consumed, in a city where it's Black and brown mostly consuming this culture. We need to be able to say our piece as well. And basically, we went to our station program director and asked to set aside 30 minutes per week in the middle of the night where there's no money involved and just let the leadership on the streets.
Why did you feel like that was important to you guys?
Well, there was no voice. There was just people on the street. There was huge crowds, but no way to reach the city. People that weren't able to come out. And bullhorns only go so far, so some people weren't getting the message. So it was up to us to try to make that difference and make that space. So
in such a real time, bro. At 2020, it looked like things were just crazy. You know, we had a pandemic, something that we'd never seen before. We're watching people die in front of us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? On TV, repeatedly watching footage. And so when you do, like, some people also Q Ward, where some people will say, you know what, man, I'll do what I do on the mic. Sometimes they don't go a little further, or they just wait for the next leader. Like, you can have a plan. You can feel like you're like, man, this is really horrible. But then we wait for the next person. You guys didn't wait. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, Big, you feel like you need permission.
Right.
You need somebody to tell you it's okay to be dynamic or to step out in front of it. And like you said, when you got the bullhorn on the street, a few hundred people can hear you. But you turn on the news and they're calling protesters looters and rioters.
Right. The narrative is different.
And those people can't speak their part. So that's why the conversation with the station was, look, we are profiting off of Black culture. People from that culture should have a voice and be able to say something about what they're dealing with out in the streets. And since we're out there and we see it, we felt like we could lend that voice to the people that were marching next to us, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and otherwise.
But you see now, and you fast forward to 2022, almost going into 2023, you know, a lot of the bullhorns, the batteries done died in them. You know, we've seen the signs that were held up. Those are somewhere in the garage. It was like, you know, there was a reason, but it was also a season. You guys went past the season.
Sure.
You know, so why is it important to continue what you do?
Well, you know, in the spirit of, I want to shout out Dr. Camilla Westenberg. She's my college mentor. In the spirit of the Panthers, in the spirit of Dr. King, in the spirit of Malcolm X, in the spirit of, you know, Marcus Garvey, in the spirit of, you know, Stokely Carmichael, all these names that we grew up learning about, James Baldwin, it comes to mind. We realized that this is a long fight. This isn't something that we can just get out there for a couple of years, say a couple of names, and then it's over. You know, we have to stand on the legacy and the history of our leaders before us. And nobody was doing what we're doing now in the space that we're doing it. In other words, we're more than just rappers and singers and dancers. We are thinkers. We are leaders. We are people that love our children. We love our families. We love our communities. We want our communities to be strengthened. You know, I'm born in California. You know, I grew up around all different types of people, and you know, doing radio in Arizona, it whittles it down just a bit. So it's just really Black and Latino out there in terms of minorities, and we're all we got in terms of marginalized folks. And so again, seeing that unity in the streets, being able to kind of capture that moment and project it into the future, and really have a place where if something else happens, folks can come and say their piece. We'll hold the space for you. We'll hold the microphone for you. You can come and talk.
And where do we find Civic Cipher now?
You can find Civic Cipher at civiccipher.com.
Yes, sir. Cleverly headed there. You know what I'm saying? Cleverly headed there.
We've also partnered with iHeartMedia, and that's another thing that I'd love to talk about. But we are found on 30 stations around the country. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to Mr.
Like
Mr. Winter and talk about getting a presence here in LA very soon. But yeah, the show is growing. We're in the process of negotiating an additional effectively doubling our footprint in terms of stations around the country. So hopefully by the beginning of next year, we'll have that situated. But
how did the relationship start?
So it started, of course, out of DJing, but that was something that Ramses saw that I didn't. I had just moved back to Phoenix from Detroit and was looking for something to do career-wise. And Ramses had met me when I was working for Moet Hennessy. The radio station would cover our advertising. And Ramses wrote a letter to LVMH just about the type of professional I was. And when I saw the letter, my boss forwarded it to me. Ramses and I had just met in Crossing. We didn't have a personal relationship. When I saw that he put pen to paper to vouch for me to this French company, you know, thousands of miles away, and they were so impressed by that, the next time I saw him, I had to make sure I didn't just shake his hand, but that I put my arms around him and let him know how far that went. Then I moved to Spain, moved to Toronto. And when I got back to Phoenix, the first person I reached out to was Ramses. And he was like, man, you might want to try these turntables out. I thought it was a ridiculous idea. But
so had you DJ'd before?
Never. I had never even thought about it or considered it.
Really?
And Ramses said, look.
I would have hated to have been at the club when you were first starting. Jesus Christ.
That's a funny story.
Yeah.
He left me hanging when I first started.
Really?
So
Throw them in the water, bro. They'll swim.
His thing was buy some turntables and I'll teach you how to DJ. He wanted me to make that first investment. He could have just gave me some turntables. He had plenty. But he wanted me to make that investment to know that I was serious. Invited me to the club for the first time, told me he had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And stayed going to the bathroom for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that's when his bowels were bad. I remember Ramses, every time I talk to me, like, yeah, Unc, I'm in the restroom. But you saw something in him, possibly that at the moment, no matter how much shine or no matter how much we, know our self-worth, sometimes someone else will see something else in you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You saw that in Q War.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard that and didn't suppress it.
No.
And isn't it crazy how some people, like, you'll get folks that'll say, okay, well, LeBron James, shut up and dribble. And then it could just be spin the record, don't say nothing, So sometimes, man, we don't understand how powerful this microphone is.
Exactly.
And how powerful this voice is and what you do with this microphone and with the voice.
Yes, sir.
All of us can bring in the next Drake record. You know what I'm saying? But it's what we do between those records and what we do aside those records. So when you do see certain things happen in our community, bro, people, not that they expect us to say something, but we should expect us, me, you, to say something.
Right.
And we went through, not even just 2020, bro. When you sit here and you go down that list, it's been a fight for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And there's absolutely no time to give it up, no matter how many decades, no matter if it's a century, whatever it is, because those problems still exist today.
Exactly.
And we do need the entertainment. We do need everything that we're playing, but we also need a balance.
Right.
And what happens today, man, is we don't have a lot of the leaders. And then when we do have the leaders, they don't get the platforms. So that's why we got to continue to make sure that our voices are used and we take care of our platform.
Yeah.
And our platform also tells people what's going on. We right here, we're in primaries, we're voting with it. And sometimes, man, we don't get the message unless the message comes from us.
Yeah.
Right.
So continue doing the message, man.
Right,
continue getting that out there.
Speaking of platforms,
He pushed me in the water with this too, Big.
Oh, really?
So when he went to the station about us doing a show to give our people a voice, you'd never believe what our hip hop station said to us. Sorry,
is it?
Ramses, we don't want to do a black show.
The hip hop station.
The hip hop station.
Y'all not no longer there though, right?
No.
Oh, we can kill them.
They could have said we don't want to do a political show. They could have said we don't want to do a polarizing show. They said we don't want to do a black show. And Ramses was in this meeting by himself. I wasn't present. Ramses resigned for both of us that day.
Damn.
And he knew that I would stand with him. Wrote a resignation letter to the city of Phoenix. And we couldn't look at our sons after these
Right.
people then told us we don't want to do a black show on the hip hop station to the only black on-air talent in Phoenix.
And who you're speaking with as well.
Yes.
Who you're speaking to.
It was
which is
insulting.
crazy. And we've seen this so-called genre and we've seen our lifestyle. Man, it plays all the way across. And they said that to you in the room and you resign.
Yeah, I wrote, again, like you said, I wrote the letter to the city of Phoenix, and then that letter ended up getting shared and shared and shared. So it made the radio trades, and that's how a lot of radio folks ended up reaching out. My first station was KKFR in Phoenix. So shout out to DJ Complex, Ben Romero. But then other stations around the country reached out. We got on in Tucson. That was our first connection with iHeart. So shout out Steve Earnhart. And then, the rest of the country.
Is it a different battle? You know how sometimes you got to push some things uphill because it's not, it's not fun. It's not, it's ignorant. It's not, it's a whole different thing as opposed to, I want to do the shoot 'em up hour.
So this is another thing to your point about the platforms. So we did a gentleman named Tony Coles reached out from iHeart, the CEO, the CEO level stuff, and he heard about what we were doing. He's like, hey, we got to partner on some stuff, but I would like you to do some other things with iHeart too. Enter the Black Information Network. So I've been working with them for the better part of a year on a daily podcast for the Black Information Network, where I interview folks from Roland Martin, and it gives me some credibility with respect to Civic Cipher, the radio show, but it also kind of helps me to network and expand, and diversify what it is I can bring to the table on the radio in the hip hop space. In terms of platforms, Q has acquired within the same time frame, I believe, the media imprint, Hip Hop Weekly. So Hip Hop Weekly magazine that you're familiar with, now he owns that. So in terms of like procuring our platforms and making sure that we have the stages so we can tell our stories and have our voices.
For us, by
I don't want
us.
to speak for
Yes,
you.
sir.
So talk to me about Hip Hop Weekly.
So the magazine had laid a bit dormant, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
They never went away, but they stopped print and they stopped running original content. It's just a bunch of shared content. And we knew that imprint, people know the imprint.
And it means something to us.
Yes. So being able to, like you said, and like Ramses said, give our people a platform. You know, I can employ writers, journalists, freelancers that want to share stories, that want to develop their craft, and that want to put something credible on their resume in the journalism space, in the photography space, and in the music creation space. Being able to take new artists and blast their music off to millions of people that maybe otherwise wouldn't have heard it. I wanted us to be able to have some control over our own voices and how far they could reach. You know?
And how is Hip Hop Weekly now? Is it still print or is it more so?
It's more digital now.
Yeah.
And we're considering going back to print because some of our brothers and sisters who are, away, that's how they keep in touch with the world and with the culture. So we have we had several tens of thousands of subscriptions that just stopped being filled. So those people don't have that bridge that they used to have. So we're looking at making sure our brothers and sisters that are down get some light, get some inspiration, and get some information, and then just rejuvenating the digital space as well, from the website to social media. To those people that follow Hip Hop Weekly magazine, we got some fresh new content coming for you, some fresh new voices, a bunch of young creators that want to get involved. So it's something that's really exciting.
Hey man, with so many voices being heard, and now at one point it was, okay, you got something from radio, you got something from television. There was, back in the days, it was a few news outlets. You had newspapers. Now with this device, everybody has a voice, rightfully so. But that voice also means that everybody has something to say, and sometimes people are saying bullshit.
Yes, sir.
And you get that. When you do have a voice and your voice talks to your audience, and then you have another voice that can talk to the masses, like a Kanye West. And when we see Kanye West with a White Lives Matter shirt, not having a conversation, I still don't know what it means. But looking at it and then watching some of the interviews that he's, done in the last a few days, he's doubled and tripled down on it. Yeah. We had a brief conversation about White Lives Matter, the actual shirt, the slogan, All Lives, and you brought something to my attention, y'all did, that blew me away right now.
Yeah. So there's a funny story. The federal trademark for White Lives Matter is not owned by Kanye West. At present, it is owned by Civic Cipher, LLC.
And Civic Cipher is?
Us, me and Q.
Yes.
How
did that happen?
So let me tell you. So there's an individual who is based in Arizona that had the foresight to procure the trademarks, the federal trademarks, for the benefit of Black and brown people, so that other folks wouldn't profit off of it. And this person knows about what Q and I are doing. This person trademarked White Lives Matter and submitted the application for All Lives Matter as well. So we're still chasing that one up, but White Lives Matter has come back. To
Civic
us.
Cipher.
Right.
Wow.
And it has since been, it was originally filed in that person's name, has been since reassigned to us. So actually we just got the receipt from our lawyer today. So shout out to Morris for taking care of that for us. But Civic Cipher LLC. So we are the holder of the federal trademark for White Lives Matter.
And what would that mean?
So that means that the only person who can profit off of it, not make shirts, because you can make a shirt and wear it, and that's your right as an American citizen. But if you want to sell that shirt, you either have to come knock on my door, or you have to face Morris, my lawyer, who is the person that helps me protect that brand. And now that it is in our care, we can decide how it benefits the Black community, the brown community, everyone, to be honest with you. And it brings us all together. It doesn't matter if you're in the white tribe or not, something that benefits all of us. But of course, we like to focus where there's the greatest need. And oftentimes we find that in Black and brown communities. So if you ever see that shirt for sale, just know that.
Well, I'm calling.
Yeah.
Call me what you want.
Please.
You know what I'm saying? All right, Ramses, you won't believe what I see.
Speaking of which, I'll add to it that Morris did send out. I believe it was either Morris or our other lawyer sent out cease and desist to some of the sites that were selling bootleg stuff. So we sent out about 25 C&Ds. That would have been yesterday. And then today we got the registration, the reassignment.
And also it being Black Information Network, how do we find you there? And how do we find the actual Civic Cipher podcast?
Sure. So Civic Cipher, you can go to civiccipher.com and tap in. We're at Civic Cipher on all social media. Civic Cipher, we own the federal trademark for that one.
And how often do y'all do Civic Cipher?
It's a weekly show.
Okay.
It's an hour a week. So just on your local station, petition your local stations to carry Civic Cipher. Help us on our way. For the Black Information Network daily podcast, you can go to iHeart.com. I'm under all the tabs, the podcast tabs. So if you're in the news, click news. I'm right next to Katie Couric, my face and my afro.
You damn right.
If you click Black
She next to
Culture,
you.
I'm next to Charlamagne. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Big. We're trying to do something. I do believe that love should be at the center of the narrative. Forgiveness should be at the center of the narrative. I'm not the hugest fan of being angry in spaces like that. I believe that healing kind of gets us a little bit further, and both Q and I really have done our best to have conversations that start and end on those points. And so tap in with me, tap in with Q at Hip Hop Weekly, the Black Information Network, of course, BINnews.com, and Civic Cipher. We're doing our best to try to make the world a little bit better.
And how
place.
long have y'all been
rocking in the free world? Yeah, Q.
17, 18 years.
Really?
It's been a while.
And Q, how long you been DJing?
I started DJing in 2010.
Right. And when did you start DJing?
Oh,
Ramses?
man. He said he started in 2010. He didn't say that he's the Phoenix Suns DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Was
I
it
saw
last
that.
season? Phoenix Suns DJ. Okay.
Were you DJing at a Phoenix and 4 game when dude put hands on that?
Yes, sir. I got to go to the finals.
Yeah.
Got to bring my kids on the court during the finals. Man, it was a really cool experience with the Suns for 3 years. Stepped away after last season, so I'm just in this space now.
Yeah,
Civic
man.
Cipher it's become far more important. Like
Yeah.
you said, the season passed for everybody to be involved in the movement, but we have an obligation to the people to keep doing this. It's not something we can just sit down.
Right. Say we did our part.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fold the sign up.
No,
Believe that. Well, man, thank you guys for coming in and sharing y'all presence with me as well.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
Ramses, anything you need on my end, brother. Aside from money. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what's happening, brother. You've
Yes, sir.
always been more than one thou wow with me, bro. And so it's just a pleasure to see what you guys are doing.
Real quick before I get out of here, man, I'm gonna send you the video, man. You when the first time I met you in person, you recorded a video for me. It was in Arizona in front of a casino.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm gonna text it to you. And you did a shout out, sounded just like that. And man, I incorporated that shout out into every air check, every video air check I ever sent out. Yes, man. So you are like
How long
my
ago was
hero,
that,
man.
Ramses?
This probably 2008, maybe.
That's crazy.
So I've been riding that wave ever since, man. So it's an honor to be here.
Man, it's an honor to
come
be in
full
y'all
circle.
presence
We
too,
appreciate
brother.
you always, big bro.
Appreciate you, man. And like we say, man, we got to put it together.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
If mine needs, that information, let it be known. I can get it out there.
Absolutely.
And the same when I need to holler at y'all, man. But thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all stick around Big Boy's Neighborhood.
Boy.